may be seated. There's a very short phrase in the Bible that always captures my imagination. It's not "in the beginning," not "I am." Two words that stop me every time I read them. Jesus wept. Not Jesus explained, not even Jesus fixed it, although he was going to do that. Not Jesus reassured everyone that it would all make sense later. Just Jesus wept. In a season when many of us are carrying grief close to the surface, and when we as a community have gathered here for funerals more than once in recent months, it matters that we pay attention to the fact that Jesus wept, because it raises the question I want us to consider this morning. When we watch Jesus weep, what are we learning about God? The gospel writer isn't just telling us what Jesus did. John is showing us who God is, and he does that at the tomb of Lazarus. We know Jesus is not simply a remarkable rabbi who feels things deeply. John has already told us in the very first lines of his gospel that the Word, the eternal Word, the very self-expression of God, became flesh and lived among us. Jesus is, as an old hymn puts it, God in man made manifest. Which means that when we watch Jesus in this story, we are not watching a human being approximating something divine. We're watching God. And what we see God doing, what God does when God stands at a grave, is weep. So before we get to any of the miracles that go on here, let's just stay with this part of the story. When Jesus finally arrives in Bethany, Lazarus has been dead for 4 days. Martha goes out first, and she says what we would say: "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." It isn't a tidy statement of faith, it's her heartbreak. Then Mary comes, falls at his feet, and says the very same words. And John tells us that when Jesus sees their tears and the tears of the people around them, he is deeply moved, shaken, disturbed, not detached or polite, but something rises up in him against what death does to people he loves. And then those two words, Jesus wept. The crowd doesn't say, "See how guilty he feels for being late." They say, "See how he loved him." Love feels loss. Love weeps. Some of us need to know that this morning. God is not impatient with your grief. God does not stand over you waiting for you to handle it better. God in Christ stands with you and weeps. But the story doesn't stop at the tears. Next week is Palm Sunday. We'll wave branches and sing, and it will be beautiful. But we also know what Palm Sunday brings: a descent, betrayal, abandonment, a cross, a borrowed tomb. And John makes something very clear. This incident in Bethany is part of what sets all that in motion. The raising of Lazarus is not a detour from Holy Week. It is a path Jesus knowingly chooses. Jesus walks into Bethany knowing what it will cost him. He weeps, he loves, he gives life anyway. And then he sets his face toward Jerusalem. And right in the middle of all this, before Lazarus come out, there's that conversation with Martha. So human, So honest. Martha says she believes in the resurrection on the last day. It's a good, faithful answer. It's the kind of thing we say when we're trying to hold on. And Jesus gently shifts it from someday to now. I am the resurrection and the life. Not, I will bring resurrection later. Not, I can explain it to you, but I am it. And then he asks her, do you believe this? Martha's answer isn't confident because she understands what's about to happen. It's confident because she has come to know Jesus. Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God. That's what faith looks like. Not perfect understanding, not the absence of grief, but relationship, trust, built over time. And that brings me to the thought I want you to leave here with today. We are not just spectators of resurrection. We are meant to live from it. Because it's possible to admire resurrection from a distance, like a beautiful idea, a doctrine we agree with, a hope we file away for funerals. But Paul, in his epistle, does not let resurrection stay on a shelf. In Romans, he says, the spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you. Not might be in you, not it's going to catch up with you someday. The Spirit dwells in you. That Spirit, the Spirit that breathes life into Ezekiel's dry bones, the Spirit that stands at a tomb and refuses to believe death gets the final word. The Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead. Paul says that Spirit is already at home in you. So what does it mean to live from that Spirit? It means resurrection isn't only something we watch happen to Jesus. It becomes a source we draw from. Because all of us are living from somewhere, from something. Some days we live from fear, from old wounds, from resentment, from the need to control, from scarcity. Paul calls that way of living the flesh. He doesn't mean our bodies are bad. He means life shrunk down to survival mode, life run by fear and self-protection is not what we are. To live from the Spirit is to draw from a different source. It doesn't mean you never grieve. Jesus wept. It doesn't mean you never feel tired or afraid. It doesn't mean fear. It means fear doesn't get to be your deepest truth. It means loss is real, but not ultimate. It means you belong right now to the God who makes a way through death. Living from resurrection doesn't mean we're suddenly fine. It means the Spirit starts bringing life where death has had too much to say. And you can see that in Lazarus. He comes out alive, but still wrapped up. And Jesus turns to the community and says, unbind him and let him go. That too is resurrection life. We help each other get unbound. We become a people who don't hand each other shrouds. We become a people who make room for healing and practice mercy because we make room for the work of the Spirit. So here we are, 1 week from Palm Sunday, standing on the threshold. And if you're not sure you're ready for Jesus' question, do you believe this? You're in good company. Martha didn't answer from certainty. She answered from relationship. And that's part of what Holy Week is for. Holy Week isn't a performance for the already confident. It's a path we walk with Jesus day by day, so our trust can deepen where life is hardest. It's how we learn not just to say Christ is risen on Easter morning, but to recognize the God who weeps, the God who stays, the God who goes all the way down to death and comes back with life. So my invitation is simple. Come with him. Come on Palm Sunday. Come to the table on Maundy Thursday. Come to the cross on Good Friday. Come to the silence of the tomb. Let the story carry you. And somewhere along that road, maybe quietly, maybe with tears, maybe with a heart that feels dry as bones, you may find that Martha's words begin to form in you too. Yes, Lord, I believe.